I'll call the meeting to order and start with these introductory comments, remarks. I'd like to make clear for the record that this meeting is being conducted as permitted under AB 361 and Board Resolution 2022-10. Today's meeting is presented in a hybrid format, in person at CVW's Steve Robbins Administration Building and via Zoom. Members of the public may participate in person or via Zoom. Zoom details are listed on the meeting agenda. The meeting is streamed live on the district's website and YouTube channel. Members of the public who wish to make comments on anything on the agenda or within the jurisdiction of the district will have 3 minutes. Public comment may be provided in person, via Zoom, or by emailing the clerk of the board. Such comments will become part of the board meeting record. If we have any remote board members, and I don't know that we will, but if we do, we'll make sure to call on them specifically and have all roll call votes. But at the current moment, we don't have any remote directors, so we will not be doing roll call votes. We'll let you know if that changes. And we're going to stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So at this time, we'll recess into closed session to consider the items on the agenda, and then...
Could we do roll call?
No. Should we? Roll call. I skipped it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's do roll call.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, President Powell.
Here.
Vice President Estrada is currently not present, but we will know if he does join us. Director Bianco?
Here.
Director Aguilar?
Here.
And Director Nelson?
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, got that. At this time, the board will recess into closed session to consider the items on the agenda. When we reconvene to open session, we'll report out, but we will not reconvene prior to 6 p.m. I'm predicting it will be at 6 p.m., but it could be a little later. Yeah. So, good evening, everyone. The regular meeting is hereby reconvened. We do not have any reportable action from closed session, so we will continue forward with our agenda. This brings us to item 5, which is additions, deletions, or adjustments. And I'm not aware of any.
Mr. President, actually, I apologize. We do have a request from staff, from departments, to pull item 10B from the agenda.
Okay.
B as in boy. That will be discussed. It will not be discussed, and we can go ahead and pull that.
So we will remove 10B.
Correct.
Thank you. Fine. Is your Zoom up and running? Do we have anyone from the public wishing to make comment at this time?
And we do not have any members. We don't have anybody actually on Zoom this time.
Okay, great. Special presentations. We do have an anniversary. Jeff Sodia, domestic crew chief with 35 years. There's a nice write-up of him on the board packet online. So thank you and congratulations, Jeff, for 35 years. He's not here today. Consent calendar. We have items 8A through H. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Yeah, I'd move approval of the consent calendar. Second.
Motion by Nelson, second by Aguilar. All in favor, say aye. Aye. That passed 4-0. On to the action, engineering. Dan Ruiz, item 10A. Approve solicitation of bids for the purchase of these motor control centers and for 2 wells. Go ahead.
Good evening, President Powell, board members. I'm here today to request authorization to solicit bids for 2 motor control centers for our 2 wells located in Cathedral City. They're on the map. The lower red dot is our well 4529, which we've done some work on, and we still have work to complete under that contract. And the upper well located there near the I-10 freeway is intended to provide water for a future reservoir, which the developer just started on this week. And so the cost of these motor control centers, which if you don't know what they look like, they really electrical cabinets that house the electrical gear for our well sites. The lower well, well 4529, we would fund that out of our CIP. The upper well is a developer-funded well. So they're very much aggressive in trying to get their infrastructure built so they can build new homes. So we propose to bundle this project up for 2 MCCs to get hopefully better pricing. And there's also a lead time of roughly about 10 months for this equipment. Once we get the equipment in, then we would go out and solicit bids for the construction of the wells to complete that work. So that is the request today.
Are these MCCs interchangeable? If you, let's say for some reason one of these doesn't go forward, can we use it for another well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, this is standard equipment that we have at all of our wells.
Yeah,
They all have the same horsepower, et cetera.
thank you.
So is there a developer agreement in place
Yes.
for this?
Yes, so for the well 4530, a new developer just took over that agreement, and they just started constructing a 2.7 million gallon tank, actually this week, which is needed to provide service for the, what's called the Verano development.
Right, yeah, I know they're being very aggressive.
Yeah.
Good.
Mr. President, I'll make the motion to approve the item.
Okay. Second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second on item 10A. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passed 4-0. On to 10C. Thanks, Dan. Finance. Hi, Carrie. We are, yeah, go ahead.
Good evening. Before I start, I'd probably take just quick 30 seconds, if you allow me to just kind of acknowledge, this is my last board meeting here, and I wanted to kind of just express my deepest gratitude to the board, to Mr. Barrett, and everyone here at the district for the opportunity to serve CBWD. And I want to also publicly recognize the finance team, which consists of your accounting, your budget and analysis, your purchasing, and your warehouse. They're such a great group of people, and I have confidence that they will continue to serve the district. And it has been such an honor and a privilege to serve CBWD, and I will be forever grateful for the opportunity to be here. So I wanted to kind of say that before.
Well, thank you very much, too, for all your good work.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Carrie.
Sorry to see you go.
Thank you.
Such a smart, sweet person.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, so I'm going to go on to the item. I actually have Mr. Patrick Griffin here from SDI. He's present. He's at the back. He's ready to come up when needed to, if you have any additional questions. So we'll go through the presentation. So for the item, so this one is to ask for an additional $52,000 and also 10% contingency for the procurement phase of the ERP and the UB system. So last October, we approved a contract with SDI to go through the process of, putting the RFP together. So since October, we've kind of gone through and went through the whole process, and we do have an RFP and a requirement prepared already, and that's going to be coming at a later time for board approval to release. During that process, they originally estimated the cost to be $131,000. And through the process of actually coming up with the procurement, the RFP, we went through and realized that, we had 36 libraries in the I-series, and it's just a massive effort to kind of go through all those customized programs, and we wanted to make sure that that gets addressed in the new data requirement. In addition, upon further, research, we needed to add the fleet management systems and also the land management system. So that kind of took up more hours than we originally anticipated for the 5 phases of the procurement phase, which I'm going to show on the next on this slide. So the 131, we were able to complete phase 1, 2, and 3, which is first we initiated it. We did project planning, the kickoff, and then we went through and assessed. We had multiple meetings with all the departments, so it's such a huge effort from everyone, from the whole department to kind of come up with the documentations and then the requirements. We did a couple of workshops. And then the third phase of it is, we're able to prepare the draft RFP along with the requirement. We are going to hold off requesting for the release until the new director of finance comes in to kind of help, ask for that to be released. So we need additional money to finish up phase 4 and 5. So this is the original phases that you saw back in October. So we're still on target. So we did finish up in September. We just need to go through phase 4 and 5, but we're kind of pushing that off until the new director comes. So that's our purpose right now, is to add additional funding to SDI so that they can complete that phase. And that phase 4 and 5 is very critical, because that's the one once we go ahead and release it, it's going to go through the screening. They're going to be helping us step by step as to the evaluation of it, the scoring, even the proof of capability. That's very, very important to go through and select the right system for us. And then after that, the negotiation. So what we're hoping for is either to get an ERP that encompasses both the utility billing and the ERP in one system, or we do a best of breed for utility billing and have 2 separate systems. But ultimately, our goal is to find one contract so that they can be in charge of, we don't have to worry about multiple contracts with multiple companies. So, sorry, didn't go to the next. So this is the implementation phase timeline. So it's still, again, the same thing that you saw the last time. It's still going to go through, hopefully, if it gets approved next year, and then we select a vendor. Then these are kind of like the time, it's going to be in different phases, because you're going to have the core financials, you have the HR and the payroll, and then you have utility billing. The cost, again, it's really important for us to eventually release the RFP, because right now it's up in the air. Most of the quotes that we have are still from years ago. DWA just got their system recently as well. So but our criteria is unique, so it's really good for us to get an actual quote that will satisfy our needs. So the recommendation is to approve an additional money to SDI.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any questions, or is there a motion to approve?
Yeah. I'll move approval, and thank you very much for your great time here. I've always appreciated your energy and your accuracy and all that. So thank you so much for your time spent with us.
Thank you. Thank you. Such an opportunity, and I'm always going to be grateful to everyone here.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Very well. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passed. 4-0. Okay, thank you, Carrie. Be well. Be well.
Thank you.
11A, we did have 2 items posted for written communications, which are going through the resolution process there. Board general comments. Wow, how did we get here so fast?
Yeah, no, let's keep going.
Your deadline.
Yeah, I don't have many comments except for that. I think you all saw the letter from the California agencies and the Colorado River Board that went out to the Bureau of Reclamation, Interior, and the 6 basin states with a offer to conserve 400,000 acre feet of water in 2023, contingent on some compensation through a new program that is a result of the Inflation Reduction Act with the Bureau of Reclamation, and continuing efforts on the addressing the Salton Sea. And we have another meeting on Friday with California Natural Resources Agency, as well as the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation, who are making this a very high priority. So that's good news for that.
Thanks for your efforts on that, Peter. Director Aguilar.
So
No comments.
No comments. Go Dodgers. That's my comment. If I could figure out how to tie that into water, I would, but I'm not sure I can do that. Any board requests for future agenda items? Nope. Let's go through these meetings then. Let's see, we had September 26th, Strategic Planning Board Input Meeting. Oh yeah, Director Aguilar.
Sure, that was just a kind of a pre-meeting to get me up to speed on previous strategic planning efforts by the board and staff
Yeah.
with Robert and Ed, and
Yeah.
to get me ready for October 4th.
Good. September 28th, Golf and Water Task Force. I was there. Director Bianco was there. Pretty well attended. They have a big group. Talking about some ideas for how to present these numbers. They're always going back and referencing 2010 and 2013 and change how they do that. Otherwise, pretty standard meeting, I think. Let's see here. We had a strategic planning workshop on October 4th. We had 4 or 5 directors attending, and it was kind of an 7.5-hour session. Great staff input. Thought the moderator was good. We're going to be having another one next month. Part 2. Any other comments before I move on? No, okay. Let's see, Director Bianco, October 6th, I think California Water Coalition Colorado webinar.
I was interested in getting on this webinar because it had the Pacific Institute, it had Metropolitan on there, it had San Diego on there, it had IID on there, basically everybody except us, U.S. Bureau of Reclamation, Tribe, everybody was there. I mean, I was a little disappointed that it didn't have any substance. It just basically talked about what the problem was, but not about any solutions, so.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Chairman, I also attended that meeting and listened to the same discussions that we have at most every meeting. It's
Yeah.
I thought Chris probably handled it pretty well.
Chris Harris. Yeah.
Yeah, he was the moderator.
Oh, good. This last item, October 10th, DVB, I was not in attendance. If that meeting even occurred, I didn't have it on the calendar. Additional meetings, we did have, we discussed a little bit in closed session. October 3rd, we had a principals meeting on the Agua Caliente mediation in Rancho Mirage. Any other meetings?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, on October 7th, I had a 7 Basin States Santa Fe follow-up meeting with the other 6 states in California. Discussed some issues that disagreement that the 6 states have with California, and it was a challenging meeting.
Any others?
Yeah.
Is there a motion to approve per diem for the meetings that were reported on?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Pass 4-0. Assistant General Manager report. Thank you for filling in tonight.
It's been tough so far. No,
Yeah, it's been.
thank you, sir. Just 3 very, very quick comments. The first one is this, the COVID report. Just wanted to report that there's 2 current cases, 3 for October. So, the numbers are, holding, pretty steady. I think to date, there's 354 recovery cases, and there's 453 documented vaccination cards, from our employees. So nothing's spectacular to report out of that. Second item is I just want to thank the board and also the staff engagement during the October 4th strategic plan meeting. Very good input, great energy, I think, from everybody involved, and looking forward to seeing everybody on November 3rd. And then lastly, just also want to wish, Carrie Swain, good luck in your new position, and, thank you for everything that you did when you were here. That concludes my remarks.
Thank you. Council comments.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I did want to update the board on AB 2449, which was signed by the governor. It has to do with the ability to have virtual meetings after the COVID pandemic is over. The current law today and the current law after the state of emergency is lifted by the state is to go back to the old system. You can always go back to the old system where you would post an agenda that has a location where you're located. You can participate from that location. It has to be open to the public, access to the public. That it will always be an opportunity. Number two, AB 361 remains in place as a law until January 1, 2024. And as long as an actual state of emergency is in place, there's a recommendation for social distancing, and we meet all those requirements, AB 361 can still be used. But at some point, AB 361 will either expire and/or the state of emergency will be lifted. When those things happen, we'll have to go back to the old way that I just explained or to this new way under AB 2449. And there's been some discussion about this being a good opportunity to have a continuation of virtual meetings, but it's very limited in terms of when it can be used and how it can be used. And I just wanted to briefly go over that. So what happens under AB 2449 is that the following conditions will have to be met. One, at least a quorum of the board will have to be participating in person from a singular location within the jurisdiction of the agency. So regardless of whether somebody wants to participate in virtual meetings under AB 2449, a quorum of the board is going to have to be located within the jurisdiction of the agency in person. Now that's different than the old law. The old law said you could all be doing teleconferencing as long as a quorum was teleconferencing from within the jurisdiction. So that's one of the requirements. Number two, the board will have to provide at least one of the following as a means by which the public may remotely hear and visually observe the meeting. So the virtual meeting technology that's going to be required would be a two-way audio-visual, Zoom, Teams, etc., or a two-way telephonic call. But if you do that, you need to have live streaming going on. Then number three, the agenda will have to provide a notice of the means by which members of the public can participate and access the meeting. The agenda must identify an opportunity for all persons to attend and to address the board, either by call-in or internet Zoom, or in any case, in person as well. So those are the things that would have to be done if you wanted to do virtual meetings under AB 2449. But here's the kicker. A board member can only participate remotely under AB 2449 if one of the following is in play. Number one, there must be just cause. The board member must notify the board at the earliest opportunity, even at the beginning of a meeting, that if he or she needs to participate remotely for, quote, just cause, end of quote. That notice can include a general description of the circumstances relating to the need for the just cause. Now, just cause is limited to the following. A child care or caregiving need. 2, a contagious illness. 3, a need that is related to a physical or mental disability. Or 4, you're traveling on official business of the board or any other state or local agency. But this just cause reason for using virtual meetings can only be used by any board member 2 times in a calendar year. Besides just cause, you can use AB 2449 virtual meetings for an emergency circumstance. And once again, that can be requested at the beginning of the meeting or as soon as possible that you know that you'll have this emergency. The board member must provide a general description of the circumstances relating to the need to appear remotely. That general description need only exceed need not exceed 20 words and does not require the board member to disclose any medical information or any personal information. In the case of an emergency, the board will receive that request, and the request can be done at the beginning of the meeting. The board member who participates remotely under this excuse must be publicly disclosed at the meeting that they are participating because of an emergency. They must also disclose whether there's any other individual in the room that's 18 years of age or older.
Jeff, can you put this in a memo? I mean,
It is
I'm
in a
not gonna-
memo.
I'm not going to remember all this.
Okay, well, let me jump to the final.
And if, why are we going
I
through
just
all the
wanted to
details?
explain that 2449 is extensive, but it's limited. So
Right,
2
I
times per year, and you can only use it for an emergency or just cause for 2 times in a year.
Good.
But if you want to use that, that is available to you. The bottom line is you can use the old system, AB 361, or this new system 2 times per year.
Thank you.
And the emergency order goes till when? That we're currently using, like right now?
AB 361 remains in place until January 1, 2024.
So we can do exactly what we're doing with the Zoom till,
Away.
for another year.
As long as the state of emergency is in place.
Okay. Thank you.
And it is in place.
It is, but it may not be in place until January 1, 2024.
Right. Good. Thank you. Do we have any departmental reports tonight? No? Good. All right. And that gets us to the end of our agenda for today. Seeing no further business, the meeting is adjourned.
We're still in
Thanks.
the
Thanks for coming.